Do you know which mindset you have? Take a look back at all the things you say and do and all the activities and really evaluate if you have a growth mindset or if you have a fixed mindset. Welcome back to the Junior Mints podcast. This podcast is here to help you guys navigate life while helping you guys do your best to have a fun life at the same time. My name is Finn Lawler. I'm your host. Let's jump right in. So in today's episode, I will be talking about the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Now, fixed mindsets hinder us. Growth mindsets motivate us. When you have a fixed mindset, this can often result in, getting stuck in your ways, getting complacent, stuck in a rut, or things of that nature. When you have a growth mindset, on the other hand, it allows motivation to kind of enter the room and kind of do its thing, do its work. So the motivation provides curiosity, and curiosity promotes out of the box thinking. So remember, fixed mindsets hinder us, growth mindsets motivate us. Fixed is passive, growth is active. The term fixed can often refer to something being in one spot and only one spot. When you have a fixed mindset, you tend to be, not always, but you tend to be more passive and lets things, slide, and you don't really aim. This is just hypothetical, but you don't really aim for improving things. When you have a growth mindset, on the other hand, it allows you to take more action and it gives us the mindset that we can proceed and we can push forward and we can improve and make our lives better and all that good stuff. So when you have a growth mindset, it allows you to take action, and move. It helps you move towards your goals and towards your dreams, aspirations, ambitions, all that. Fixed mindsets are stubborn, while growth mindsets are willing to learn. Or in this case, people with fixed mindsets are stubborn, usually, and people with growth mindsets are willing to learn, usually. People with fixed mindsets, of course, are stubborn in some cases and unwilling to learn new things. They are oftentimes convinced that they know everything and, they're the smartest person in the room. This is not the case, and whatever, but people with growth mindsets are people who are open to try new things, curiosity, new ideas, new perspectives. They are also willing to learn from their mistakes. My question is, which one are you? Are you fixed or are you a growth mindset person? Which one are you? It could depend on the person, but which one are you? Fixed mindsets, are afraid of change, while people with growth mindsets embrace the change. Change can be scary. In fact, it always is. I understand it. I get it. I too have trouble with adapting to change. But once the change happens, it's like, oh, cool. Like, we're doing this now? Awesome. People with fixed mindsets often, and this is just something I've read and seen, but people with fixed mindsets, they don't often like change. They are people who maybe prefer to live in the past, or they prefer to be in the past because that's what they remember and that's what they like. They're afraid, rather. They're afraid to march forward and see what the unknown has for them. And I mean, those people usually live in the past and they don't really live in the moment. Again, I'm not speaking for every person with a fixed mindset. I'm just speaking just based on my experiences as a person who had a fixed mindset at some point, and I'm just speaking on that. I'm not speaking for anybody else. People with a growth mindset are ones who embrace change and welcome it, and they go, "Oh, cool, that's pretty awesome. Let's see where this kind of takes us." And I'll just say it, I'm not perfect when it comes to this. In fact, far from it. I have my moments where I'm not really a fan of change, but once change occurs, it's like, oh, okay, cool, this is pretty awesome. It takes me a second or two, but those seconds are getting shorter and shorter. So again, these are just personal experiences. People with fixed mindsets live in fear and scarcity, while people with growth mindsets, they live in abundance. They embrace abundance. So those people with fixed mindsets live in fear more often than not. Again, I'm not speaking for everyone. These are just things I've seen. They're the ones who often hold on to what they have and, are afraid to let things go, even if they'll get more in return. People with growth mindsets, have an they have an abundance mindset when it comes to going through life. I may have lost that, but there's more where that came from. Or kind of like when you run out of like food or something at your house or something, you're like, instead of being like, oh no, like we don't have any more like dinner food or something, you can shift to that mindset to, you know what, we may have run out of dinner food or food for dinner, but we can always get more. That's the key here. We can always get more. So the perfect example of this, sort of, is in Matthew chapter 25, when Paul talks about the parable of the talents. Basically, and this is just my perspective on it, what it summarizes, so Jesus, or I guess the master, could be Jesus, could not be, but well, that's another video. But the master trusts his servants with his property. The first two servants who have growth mindsets, they go and invest the master's property, while the third, who has a fixed mindset, buries the master's property away because the servant didn't really know what to do with it. So what happened? Let me tell you. The third servant had to give his portion to the other two servants, so the third ended up with nothing. Moral of the story, and I think this is partially accurate, it's always good to have a growth mindset. The Bible says it, right? Think about it. If this concept is in the Bible, then it's probably best that we pay attention to what kind of mindset we have. Whereas the first two servants had an abundance mindset, being like, oh, I'll invest this money or whatever it is, while the third buried it in the ground and was like, oh no, I'm going to run out of property. And you know what? And the third servant had a scarcity mindset. So just remember that, if you have a scarcity mindset, you might end up losing the thing that you were given. In some cases, yeah. But think about it. We got to pay attention to that. Which mindset are you? Are you fixed, or you have a growth mindset? Are you a person who's stuck in their own ways and doesn't want to change? I sound like a commercial. Or are you a person who embraces the change and pursues the fight to growth? Do you know which mindset you have? Take a look back at all the things you say and do and all the activities and really evaluate if you have a growth mindset or if you have a fixed mindset. And the best part is you can go from one mindset to the other. I guess it's also a blessing and a curse because you can go back from a growth mindset to a fixed. But that's another story. Kind of like, think about it, it's kind of like the villain redemption arc of every story. You can change, whether it's good, bad, good, whatever. If you need to change your mindset, then it's probably time to do so, if you're even aware of it. Hopefully you are. I hope you're aware of it. It can be hard, however, to make that change because, we get so stuck in our ways. Once again, it's like, I don't want to change. But then once you do change, it'll be better for you. Your life will be so much better once you do change, if you need to. Anyway, fixed and growth mindsets are often tricky. Again, which one are you? I'd like to consider myself to have a growth mindset, but there are some days where I look back and I'm thinking like, oh man, I had a fixed mindset that day. So just evaluate that for yourself, because it's different for every person. So anyway, this has been the Junior Mints podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to today's episode. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, please drop a like, subscribe down below, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.